Hey everybody, welcome back to Worldbuilding with DMDave. This is episode 20. In this one, we are following up the work that we did last time by creating our kind of casino area that's run by the criminal syndicate that runs the town. If you remember, I rolled a criminal syndicate as the kind of the quest givers for this big adventure campaign that we're putting together, and I wanted to give them kind of a base of operations, also a place where the players could kind of stay and do a little bit more than go dungeon delving. So this is what we got here, and this is going into the whole series of maps that I've started creating for Megadelph. So it's kind of crazy to think that we started with these two and we've moved all the way to now building out the town and giving it a little bit more life. That way when my players play tomorrow, they will be able to do a little bit more than just go bop things in a dungeon. Alright, so dynamic lighting on a little bit nicer structure like this, which has a lot of right angles, windows, and things like that. It's going to take a little bit more, some tricks. It's really easy to do a cave because you can get it kind of sloppy and it looks great. But when you're doing it like this, you want it to make it look kind of perfect. I mean, you don't have to, but me personally, I like to. Alright, so we're going to go to our dynamic lighting layer, which is over here, and then we're going to go to our Polygon line tool. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide the map by its floors. Okay, so you see we've got 3 floors here and then a random encounter mat that we've put off in the corner there. I personally like having all of my building levels all on one layer because it makes moving the characters between layers way easier, and it cuts down on friction and load times and all that. So all you got to do is just drag and drop them at this point. Let's make sure we actually have our dynamic lighting on too. So we're going to turn on dynamic lighting. I'm going to put it on daylight mode, and that's all we need to do for that. You can see it kind of goes kind of gray. Actually should be bright. Let's reload it and see if it's looking a little dark, isn't it? Daylight mode, dynamic lighting. This is new lighting for me, so I guess it's alright. At the very least, we want to make sure the dynamic lighting barriers restrict movement. Alright, let's go ahead and start doing some lighting then. Okay, so here's a nifty little trick, right? We're going to have a lot of areas that don't perfectly line up to the grid, but we still want to get straight lines. And we can snap to the grid. Snapping to the grid makes things way easier because you can draw it like a perfect little lines, right? So what I do is I actually go into my settings here, and then I go to my cell width, and I shrink it all the way down to 17.5. And here's why. It creates a smaller grid with which I can draw lines on and get those tiny little details and still be able to snap to the grid. And then really it's just a matter of flying through it. Windows, I will show you how I do those in a minute. I have kind of a specific way that I like my windows to look. But you can see we can get this done super fast because it's just snapping to the grid. Boop, boop. I like doing dynamic lighting because it's like meditation. Okay, so I've done my first floor's dynamic lighting here, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do doors and windows on a little bit nicer right angles. I think just like I showed you before, I always overdraw just a little bit. It cuts down on there being gaps, and then I could just select it and knock it to back, and it looks good. Now here's what I like to do about windows. I don't like them being wide open like this because I think it shows it's kind of confusing. What I like to do is create little gaps through which light can shine, but there's still something blocking the way, so you can tell that it's not really like a door or something like that. It's kind of a weird gimmick I do. Works for some people, may not work for you. I just like the look of it. I think it looks cool. So here's a really big window that's kind of hidden behind this barn door here. Actually, I don't even think it's really hidden behind the barn door. I think it's over top of it. So what I want to do is I'm going to draw this like my other windows, but divide it up like this. So now you see there's a gap. It's like Morse code, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's how I kind of like to do it. Sometimes you have to finagle with the settings a little bit to get it perfect like that, but yeah, sometimes it's a home run each time. Okay, so the next floor has a few tricky areas in it, or a few tricky windows that don't exactly line up. So that one I'm going to do like that. That should look okay. Get away with that on here too. I think it's this next one. Yeah, you see this one? This one's a little bit trickier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my dock and I'm going to go down even another step to 8.75. And the reason I do it at these increments is because they perfectly divide into 70, which is the typical cell width of it. So, you know, it goes down to 35, 17.5, 8.75. So I'm going from half to quarters to eighths. And that's really about as small as it can go. You can see when I've done that, I can now draw sort of in the center of that window versus having to do it by hand. And I'll go ahead and finish up these doors too. Yeah, here's another one that's going to be kind of tricky because you can see how it's like it's kind of fighting with this on. I think it's because it's the same size as those ones on the side. So we'll just go like that. We'll go like that. I think that looks okay. Yeah. It's okay to overdraw on things if you made a mistake, because really only you are gonna know that those little boo-boos are there. So by doing like that, it's like, well, who cares? I don't plan on moving it. And then the colors match. Alright, let's pull out and see what we've got so far. Looking good. Thing lines up. Looks like I got some outhouses down there that I need to do. So this is the ground floor, right? Did I miss a door there? Oh my gosh, I drew over a door. No worries, nothing a little delete can't fix. Alright, let's get our tool back and look at that. Perfecto. I must have changed the color on it by accident. I can't believe I would draw over a door. Tom loves his outhouses. Look at these things. Alright, down to just the last one here. Just gotta do some, this should be pretty quick. I'm gonna bump back up to our bigger size to work on this one. So I think there's not gonna be a lot of windows, so there's no point to keeping it small. Okay, we've got all the dynamic lighting laid down for the bottom of the casino. One thing I forgot to check for is Tom usually has secret versions of his maps. Let me make sure I didn't make a mistake with that. Yeah, it would say something like secrets hidden. So yeah, you see this is like an example here. This is a fighting ring that's got secrets, but this one doesn't look like he's got any secrets version on that, so it's kind of nice. I guess the criminal element here has no qualms having people know about the shady's goings-ons. Yeah, it looks like the stairs go straight down. No fuss, no muss. That's cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and add in our lighting tokens. What I'm actually gonna do is I want to put a night version of the map over top of this. So here's kind of a cool trick. I've got the day version right that Tom's already done, and I'm gonna go bring this back to 70 because we're done doing the nitty-gritty work now. I'm gonna find the night versions of all of these maps and I'm gonna overlay them. And then what that'll do is allow us to cycle through them by using our back tool. So again, we're going to set our dimensions. This And we'll pivot that 90 degrees, slap it over here. Good, so it lines up perfectly with that. Oops, it needs to be on our map layer. Okay, and you'll see the dynamic lighting matches up perfectly. There's nothing that we have to change about it. Pretty nice. We'll do the same with the other two night versions. I don't really need a different one for the basement, but he does different ones anyways, so if you really want to like make it look more night, I mean, I'm not sure how how different a basement would look at night compared to day, but hey, it's there, might as well use it, right? Cool. Okay, so we've got our night versions in place. Let's go ahead and start laying down some light tokens, and we will be done. Probably want a few fancy labels, but that's probably all we really need. So remember, I've got a light token. It's nothing more than just a yellow circle. We're going to go to our dynamic lighting layer. I'm going to put this, let's do our big lights first. So we'll make this into 30 by 30, so 30 bright. I use these for typically for big sources of light, like fireplaces and stuff. Let's see if there's really an others. There's a brazier there, but I don't know if that it would have that much light. It doesn't look like, repeat on the second. You know what? And I need to turn global light off. That way we can really see what it looks like. So go back to our dynamic lighting. We're going to turn off daylight mode. Now we can see our lights. Okay, cool. See how it's like lighting up the place? That way you don't get lost on your way to the toilet. Looks like just lanterns. No fireplace, huh? Alright, cool. Next up, let's go down a step from that. Let's do our lanterns. Look at the light shining through. It's beautiful. Alright, lanterns are going to be 20 by 20. So we will go back to our dynamic lighting layer. We're going to adjust this one. And all I'm going to do is copy it and I'm going to paste it. We'll do the brazier that way too. Boy, that's bright. Bright, bright, bright. It looks good though. It looks real good. No lanterns in there. Oh, there's one. So yeah, pretty well lit. Kind of got some in the barn here. Now here's kind of a cool trick. If you want to make it so that the light doesn't go in areas that you don't want it to, what you do is you go into here, and we're going to go back to dynamic lighting, and we're going to do directional light at a, let's see, 90 degree angle. And you'll see that creates that, and then we're going to place it so it's like this. Let's shrink it a little bit too. We don't want it using up the whole thing. So check this out. We're going to have let's get rid of the low light. Just have 15 feet of bright light. Actually, let's make it 7 feet. Here's why. Oop, maybe we do need a little bit more. Let's do, we'll do 10 feet. All right, so there's 10 feet of bright light. That's all we need for that area there. And we'll do the same for this guy here, except we'll do 180 degrees on this one. So we'll go back to our total. We'll get that. Alright, so that's light coming from downstairs. Granted, the beams wouldn't be lit, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And if you look, now that's what it looks like downstairs. So the light sources are coming from these two lanterns that are here. We could probably put a third one in there, because if we look down, there's one there. But I think this is good enough. Let's give them a little bit of low light too. We'll give them like 2 or 3 feet. So let's take out, let's cut this in half. Do that. There, I think that looks cooler. Do the same here. 5, 5, boop. That looks beautiful. Look at that. Ah, it's so great. Awesome. Let's go get another one of those lantern tokens and start spreading those around too. So I really love making some really cool light. I know, like, I can't imagine like people actually know that I'm doing all this work behind the scenes or even like get excited about it. But to me, it's like, it's just, I think it really brings a map to life to have super keen dynamic lighting. All right, finally, let's do some candles. Candles will do 5, 5, and 5. So let's go back to dynamic lighting. 5 on bright, 5 on these. Now I'll do some, even though this is pretty well lit, I'll still do some, just because if one goes out, I think it looks cool to have another one in place. Okay, I think this looks pretty gorgeous. Let's do a real quick check through here to make sure everything looks good, and that'll do it for us. All right, I'm put my lightning child pog down, and let's give him some vision. I'm not going to give him dark vision just yet. I just want to see how stuff looks to plain old humans. Looks pretty good, huh? Nice and clean. That's beautiful. All right. And you can see how the windows look, you know. So, like I said, you can see out the window, but you can tell that it's a barrier, right? Instead of just being a big open barrier. I'm not crazy about that. That's really the second floor, so you probably wouldn't be up there. Let's go look in our stables real quick, see how those are looking. Remember, we did that fancy lighting in there, so hopefully... Oh yeah, look at that. Ah, that's gorgeous. That's so cool. Imagine having a fight there. Yeah. Alright, now he's down on the ground floor. Looking good, looking good. Yeah, I really love dynamic lighting in D&D 5th edition on VTTs because it really adds some cool elements to the game. Like that top of the barn there just looked so fantastic, and like you can even see it kind of out the corners of those cool barn doors that Tom drew. Let's go down the basement, check that out. This interrogation room looks really nifty. Yeah, look at this chair just like in the dark. Ah, that looks so great. This room's lit up like a Christmas tree, but still it looks really freaking cool. And there's this long shadow there. That's beautiful. That's just absolutely beautiful. And look at this dark corner over here. Poor whoever's spinning the roulette ball. Like, just turn the lights out. Alright guys, that is it for this. Next up, I'll probably start fleshing out some of the... Well, you know what? Let's start building out the campaign. We've got our adventure, we've got our town, we've got sort of our first major place in the town. So let's figure out some major campaign details that I want for sort of the overarching campaign. We already know it's going to be set around the Megadelph, but why and what's the big purpose? I know I want to tie something in with the Dwarven Fortress that's in the middle of it, but let's figure out some real details. Anyways, hope you like this video on doing dynamic lighting on building structures, especially on maps by Tom Kartos, and I will see you next time. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.